I have a very clear memory of having the privilege to speak before the community at the New West End Synagogue in London, England. It was during the very early phases of my work for Our Soldiers Speak. When the time for questions and answers came about, there was an allegation made by one member of that community, which essentially said that the reason Israel does not enjoy a favorable viewpoint from many corners of the international community is that the state of Israel has never managed to master the art of public relations. That allegation has actually recurred throughout my work, and I today rail against that. And the reason is very, very simple. If one looks at the history of the Jewish people, one can see that in different states and in different countries, on different continents, Jewish people established communities. Within those communities, there were always those who permeated the circles of the uppermost power and influence. Incidentally, this phenomenon goes all the way back to the days of Joseph in Egypt and his influence with Pharaoh. What also has not changed since the days that the Jewish people were in Egypt, and what also can be seen in the context of any country where the Jewish people have established themselves, is that the Jewish people never managed to concoct a narrative sufficiently cogent and compelling so as to allow them to stay within those countries untrammeled, unharassed, living freely as part of those states. The Jewish people across millennia have been ostracized, banished, burned. We know about this phenomenon. It's called the March of Jewish History. And so the idea that somehow, in revolt of everything that history tells us, the Israeli people are now going to be able to master the art of public relations to such an extent that they will demolish the absolutely unfounded prejudice held by much of the world against the Jewish people, to me is ridiculous. It's unfounded. I do not actually believe that the most immediate challenge upon the Jewish people, whether in the diaspora or here at home in the State of Israel, is that of mastering public relations. I actually believe that our challenge most immediately is that of mastering private relations. How do different denominations in the diaspora relate one to the other? How do different denominations of Jews here in the State of Israel relate to one another? And most importantly, how do diaspora communities relate to the State of Israel? And how does the State of Israel relate to diaspora communities? Our challenge is mastering private relations within ourselves. Thereafter, perhaps we might compel the masses to see the virtue of the State of Israel.